Jasmine J, and we are back with another episode of Business Talks with Jasmine J. On this platform, I like to bring CEOs and founders of businesses in the real estate, technology, and entertainment industry, as well as nonprofits. And we like to have transparent conversations where we can talk about what it really takes to build a business, put a strategy into place, and build a brand. So today, I have a special guest, Marquis. How you doing?
How you doing, Jazz? I'm doing good.
I'm doing pretty good. So tell us about yourself, your business, how you doing, what brought you out today, and then we'll get into the nits and grits.
I definitely appreciate you for reaching out to me. I'm the founder of a lot of things.
Yeah, for
I like
sure.
to call myself I'm a serial entrepreneur. Coming up, I just wanted to create my own opportunities and also provide opportunities for others. So I started a healthcare agency called HHS Insurance Group. I also am the founder of Hip Hop Streets, live stream music app, which is a app that we created to help new artists to get heard and discovered, and that has opened up to not only just artists, new podcast shows. We actually expanded it to short movies, things of that nature. Also, I did a nonprofit organization where we coached minority kids in baseball.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 10 years, gave back to the community on that aspect. I'm also a published author. So I have a book out on Amazon called Praying for a Better Day. It's more motivation and inspirational poems that I composed in the book. So like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yes, you are, and you are leading a culture movement, especially down here in Houston. So thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you.
Sure. So we're gonna get into all of that, giving back, building dreams, and creating culture. So you're a part of a nonprofit, like you just talked about, with baseball. How important is mentorship and exposure for young men or young athletes in underserved communities?
Man, it's everything because that's how I got up out of my situation in the neighborhood because I was able to have older coaches and come pick up me and my brothers and take us places. So for me, it's relieving, it's refreshing. The group of kids that I did coach, 90% of them graduated college. So
amazing.
yeah, one of them got drafted by the Detroit Tigers. So that was also a blessing, and just to see the growth and development because the information and knowledge that they're getting, they're not gonna get it at home, basically, because you're getting it from a mentor, somebody that's probably been through something and seen something. So, when you fall, your parents will be there to tell you to get back up, it's gonna be okay. But the mentor gonna be the one to tell you, man, I told you don't fall because it's gonna hurt.
Right.
And then when you get back up, it's no more crying because I told you, but you got to deal with consequences.
Definitely.
And that's the main thing that I used to teach to the kids was consequences.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, be aware of your consequences. If you're aware of your consequences, you just might not make that decision. And that was my main thing to them. You know what I'm saying? So if you do it, deal with it.
Definitely. I'm real big on the youth mentorship, a youth advocate, and everything like that. And I think one big part of mentorship, because a lot of people can self-proclaim to be a mentor, and I think that's good. But a good mentor is, I believe, has transparency. They're open to sharing their life stories and things that they've been through, so that they can relate to whoever they are, whoever they're mentoring.
Correct.
So when it comes to your mentorship, how transparent do you get with the youth?
And I'm transparent with him, I'm like the homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I call him the uncle now.
I was about to say,
Yeah, I'm the uncle now. You know what I'm saying? And I always let them know that they can reach out to me about anything. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I'm like a lawyer. Whatever we talk about, I won't expose it, but I'm gonna help you.
Right.
But if it's too serious, I need to go and bring your parents in.
Yeah, I'm calling your mama.
I'm calling your mama. But just being transparent with them throughout the whole development, the process, being able to talk to them, you know what I'm saying? Not only when they're doing good, when they're doing bad, I'm there for them, you know what I'm saying? So I'm very transparent with them because that's what I needed as a youth, and I know what they need, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing about it is the times that they're growing up in, I can even imagine myself growing up as a kid in today's society with all this information and internet and all that. All we had was a house phone, you know, and so you didn't even have
if your parents gave you access to that.
Exactly. You only had a small block of time with that. I remember the story that, we had a 2-story house, and my grandmother used to be on the phone all the time. So what me and my brother did was call the telephone company and create a whole other line upstairs. We got busted when it was time for the bill to come. She
I
like,
bet. She like, what? When did I get a second line?
and she ended up letting us keep it. You like, man, we need another line because you down there
You on the phone.
all day. So so I definitely very transparent with them, man. I love helping the youth. That's just something that I did freely.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What's one story from the field that reminds you of why this work matters?
Repeat that.
What's one story from your coaching or any type of mentorship that reminds you of why this type of work matters when it comes to working with the youth?
I got a couple of them, but me when they reach back out
Yeah.
and say, hey, coach, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, inviting me to things. I'm in my old age, so now I get to go to graduations. I get to go travel with the kid that's in the pros and seeing how they act, and you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. It's just the you see their success.
Yeah.
To me, that means more than anything. Like they didn't make that mistake that I made.
Yeah.
That's what that was my whole, don't make that mistake, because the mistakes that I made, you probably can't recover from them in 2025. Back then you could, you didn't have social media, you didn't have all that. So the certain things that you do now, it's gonna be carry you through the rest of your life, because it's gonna be a post, it's gonna be a meme, it's gonna be something. People can always do it. So to me, just seeing all of them being successful, graduating, going to their graduations, hanging out with them now, that to me is just like, this is why I did it. Yeah, this is why I did it.
For sure, for sure. It was something you just mentioned that sparked something I wanted to say. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me. Okay. So I want to go into like poetry. So you do anything with poetry?
I do spoken word. I do have a poetry book out called Praying for a Better Day.
Yeah.
To me, I tell people I copied Tupac style. Tupac did The Rose That Grew From Concrete. So mine it's a little bit like that. It's just a bunch of poems that I composed over my lifetime up until when I released the book. And it's more so inspiration, motivation, things of that nature. I think one of my strongest poems in that book to me is called Tears of a Black Man. And it's more so relating to, people, you hear about it, you see about it, but it's really, for a black man, it's really struggle.
Yes.
And I think that was one of my most prized poems that I wrote in that book.
Definitely. That was one of my questions. Is there a poem or a message? But your poetry clearly inspires people to strive for greatness. What led you to publish your first book, and how does poetry continue to fuel your creative work?
I was always creative, as a typical, I ain't gonna say the typical, but as a black kid, I wanted to be a rapper.
Yeah.
So it took too long. I ain't got time to be in the studio, so I just turned mine into poetry.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine was a published. She was actually doing publishing, Onay, and she said, "Won't you publish your book?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know how." She was like, "I'll teach you." So she was like, "Hey, you're gonna be my first book that I actually published." So we actually did it together.
Right.
And I dedicated it to my grandmother. May she rest in peace. But my grandmother, she was alive at the time.
Yeah.
So to me, that was my gift to her. On the back of the book, I dedicated to her, had a picture of her and everything else. So I more so, that was her gratitude. My grandma, anytime somebody came to that house, my grandma gave me that book. Read this book.
I'm so proud.
Yes, my grandson.
my grandson wrote this
My
book.
grandson, and they be like, can I have it? No, go buy your own.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So I do I write poetry. I haven't been on a stage perform poetry in years. Probably before my kids, and I got grown kids. So it's been a long time. But for me, poetry has always been a way to express my creativity, but also a lot of healing. Mm-hmm. And so for you, I know that you want your poetry to have it. I know the impact you want it to have. But for you, what was that process for you? Like while writing it, was it expression? Was it healing? Was it like therapy, or was it just a hobby?
It wasn't a hobby. It was therapy. It was expressions. It was a message.
Yeah.
So I can't write for fun. I have to write for meaning.
Yeah.
And I can't write for fun. I go on writer's block. I got to have some type of substance behind what I'm writing about.
For sure.
Because I'm not your typical Romeo and Juliet.
Arthur.
Yeah, exactly. This is not fantasy. This is reality.
Yeah.
My poetry's reality. Either I seen it, or I heard about it. I've been through it, or I done talked to somebody that been through it, and they didn't know how to express it, so I expressed it for them.
Yeah. Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, outside of poetry, fashion,
I had a clothing line.
you've done it all.
I told you I did a little bit of everything, man. We had a clothing line. Me and my cousin started a clothing line called Mind Over Matter.
Yeah.
And then we went with the acronym MOVAM because we couldn't copyright Mind Over Matter.
Yep.
So that was motivation.
Yeah.
So we wanted to, people wear clothes all day with no meaning. So we said, hey, let's come up with a brand. But it has meaning to it. We had a nice logo, and we kicked it off right in the neighborhood at the trunk of the car, grew it all the way up to a storefront. We did boat parties. If you name it, we did it in the city. We were probably one of the first people to do the boat parties. And we were doing all this for marketing.
Yeah.
Just to get people aware of the brand and things of that nature. And it did pretty well, but I think we was ahead of the curve, and we couldn't keep up with demand at the time. I did go to the magic show. I did meet a couple of companies. But, when you're dealing with fashion and business and things of that nature, man, capital is everything.
Oh, yes.
So, we can order something and don't nobody buy it, or it's the wrong size, or it's the wrong color, or, the shirt tore. We got to eat that cost.
Right.
And that kind of caught up with us, in a sense. But it taught me a lot.
And that's what I was going to bring up. I'm sorry. The fact that maybe it's not, it didn't get where you wanted it to be, or maybe it's not still in business right now. But I'm sure the experience and everything you learned and the relationships that you built during that time that you had the clothing company, that you learned a lot.
I learned a lot, and it led me into my next business venture. So, because of some of them people I carried with me to the next business venture. So it just, it gives you the energy and the fuel that, hey, you can do this.
Yeah, for sure. We got to fly that one to join us on set. Definitely. So how has building a fashion brand taught you resilience and entrepreneurship?
It taught me how to deal with failure.
Yeah.
And you got to fail 1,000 times. So I was just, hey, keep on going. I don't even look at it as a failure.
Yeah.
I looked at it as a learning curve.
Definitely. Go on, hit them up out of here. But definitely, and I was just talking about this on the last episode that I shot about, it's lessons.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people start things. I could speak for myself. I know in the past I've started things and I had an idea of how I wanted it to be. And if it didn't come out exactly like that, I was like, this didn't work. But it took me to maybe once I start having children, I start realizing that everything is something you could build off of.
Correct.
And so I think that the more as entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders that we switch our mindset and our perspective to say, okay, this wasn't a failure. What do we need to learn? What experience did we get from this moment? And how do we pivot so that whatever we're doing moving forward, we can build from this?
You're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that even now, what I tell my people, we're gonna adapt.
Yeah.
We, like you say, we can come in here and we can say everything gonna be this way, but we're not gonna panic when it don't go that way.
Exactly.
We're gonna adapt. We're gonna keep going, because at the end of the day, only we know how it's supposed to look. The people on the outside don't know how it's supposed to look. So we're not gonna, show that, oh, it failed. Nah, we're just gonna keep on going. We're gonna make the adjustments, and I call it controlled chaos.
Yeah.
We're gonna control this chaos.
Yes.
And keep it going.
Definitely. And one thing, and it's important to self-reflect and know you, because I know one thing about myself is I work best in organized chaos. So when everything is just organized to the T, I don't work well in that, because I have to have pressure for me to perform my best. I mean, that's just what it is, and I recognize that about myself. But if it's 100% chaotic, I can't do anything with it.
Exactly.
So it has to be a little bit of both.
It got to be
and
both.
And then we can do what we need to do.
Yeah, we can pivot.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So control chaos.
Definitely. So this is what I couldn't wait to talk about, which was Hip Hop Streets. So I want to talk about the Luncheon app, but let's just talk about how you even got to this point. Because you have Hip Hop Streets, you have the app, you have the insurance, and all these other things. Every time I see you, you have on something hip hop streets, which I think is very important when it comes to marketing, because people don't understand how you can really be a walking billboard for your brand. So go ahead and educate us.
Hip hop street started just with a vision.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love music, so I always was into music, so I wanted to be a part of it. But then when I got on the business side and me graduating from Texas Southern, I wanted to be an entrepreneur,
That's right.
and I wanted to figure out how I can make money, a lot of money, on the tech side, because technology was moving in, and this is where the big dollars at. This is where the money coming in, where people can actually make a change and a difference. So I created Hip Hop Streets based off of hearing Kanye West state that he's not putting no more music in the stores. You're going to have to stream his music. Can't think of the year, but it was the last album. So at this time, Kanye was at the height of his career. He probably was the top dog in hip hop industry. So I was like, if Kanye is doing this, then hey, this is finna be a trend. I think around that time you had MySpace. I think Reverb Nation was a thing around the time. So I said, let me create something strictly for underground artists to give them a platform where they didn't have to compete, but they need somewhere to start. So we always wanted to be the one to jumpstart people's careers.
Yeah.
And just, hey, come over here, fail, do what you're gonna do, try it out. We're gonna create an audience. So it started with just an idea. And then I ended up getting awarded top 40 under 40 at Texas Southern School of Business. Now, mind you, I wanted to create an app, didn't know how to create an app. So when I got this award for the top 40 under 40, my whole mindset was, I hope somebody in here can help me create an app.
Right.
So they got to announcing everybody's names and what they did, what they achieved and everything. And then I heard web developer. So, okay, she a web developer. So immediately after we got our awards and everything, I immediately approached her. Hey, do you know anything about apps? She said yes. I said, give me your number. And from that point on, we met. She pointed me in the right direction. Mia, shout out to Mia. She helped me create the first app that we ever created. We actually on the 4th version of Hip Hop Streets.
Yeah.
So she actually helped me create the first app, and it shocked everybody.
Man, I bet it did. Okay, wait, let's unpack that. Because I think one thing that you're talking about that needs to be mentioned is that networking, right? And that communication. Not having the fear to connect with someone and ask for help, and not be in the room like you know everything. So you knew that you wanted to do an app, and you knew that you didn't know how to get that done. You're in this room, you hear somebody saying they're a web developer, and you just walk right up to them and tell them, hey, you know about apps? And they like, yes. So for the youth, because I'm really big on the youth, talk about how important that is to network and to not be afraid to speak and introduce yourself to somebody and tell them what it is that you do.
Man, that means everything, because you might not get that opportunity to be in front of that person again. So my motto is stay ready. So I was ready. I knew what I wanted. So I approached her. I was business minded, told her what I had going on, and then I followed up. See, networking is only good when you follow up.
Yep.
I can get 1,000 numbers and say, "Ooh," but if you never follow up with these people, you never learn nothing. And I lived in Atlanta for 2 years. So this whole hip hop streets thing is a journey.
Yeah.
Because I left Houston and moved to Atlanta just to learn hip hop.
Wow.
But while I was in Atlanta, I learned how important that following up really is.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, and we're getting more like that, in Houston. But I can meet somebody on Monday, on Tuesday we done talked.
Yep.
On Thursday we working together.
Yep.
That's just how quick it happens. And that's just reality of life. If you got what you need, and you know what you want, people will work with you all day, every day. But you just can't go in there undecided, nervous. I don't know what to say. Don't nobody know what to say. Say something.
Right.
And
the reality is everybody's figuring it out.
Exactly.
No matter how much experience. I have over 18 years experience in leadership and management. I am still figuring out leadership and management every single day. So it's like, don't be afraid to come up and say anything, because I'm not going to be afraid to come up to you and say, hey, I saw you were a lawyer and I'm in desperate need of contracts. Man. So how can we work together, and things like that.
Exactly, because, coming up when you don't have much, you have to put yourself in position to get it. So to be, when you get invited in these rooms, you just can't be, starstruck.
Yeah.
You got to look at it like, hey, I belong here too. So let me make the best of it. So,
For sure.
and networking is my strongest. Everybody tell you that. I'm going to go in a room and I am going to network.
I believe you. I was just telling you before we cut the cameras on. I'm like, you are getting it done. You hear me? You are everywhere. But that's what it takes. When we first got started here, we didn't have any clients. We knew exactly what we wanted to do. We knew how we were serving our community. We had a team, but we didn't have the clients yet. And so it was like, okay, what do we need to do? We have to get out in front of them. So we had a goal. We were going to 10 events a week. And this is about a team of 3. 10 events a week. And that was a crazy quarter for us because we did it was a second quarter. And it was like, I was so tired by the end of the quarter. But then by the time the end of the year, by the time fourth quarter, everything that we were doing, it was like, we met these people in the second quarter when we were going to all these events, networking and really getting in front of people, just letting them know, hey, pull up to CCN. Hey, do this. So the power of networking and the power of live events. Because I think it's one thing to do things on the internet, and have your information out there digitally. Like, that's great. But it ain't nothing like being in the room with the right people at the right time.
Man, that's everything. And to piggyback on Hip Hop Streets, before we actually had an app, me and my business partner, Marquis, we traveled to different events around the world.
Wow.
BET Awards, New York, all handshaking people, hand to hand, passing out flyers, getting emails, getting contacts. So when we came back around that next year, we actually had a product to show them. But we did that just a year straight just to see if it was a need for it.
Yeah.
This is, we know it's a need for it in Houston, but is it a need for it in New York?
Exactly.
Is it a need for it in LA? And we saw that, hey, man, everybody gravitated to them. And, and we just, hey, coming soon, would y'all be a part of this platform? So when we actually launched the platform, we had a database to start with. We actually had music to put on the app because we had already saved up a lot of this data, and we reached out to them artists and they started submitting their music, and that's what helped us really get it going. Just like you saying, traveling, networking, going to these different events, and we were doing this without a product.
Yep. Wow. So at what point did you realize, like, we need to add a product with this? So here comes the merch and other things. At what point did you realize that? I know I'm skipping. Okay.
Well, people started asking for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that always been a part of the plan. You know, but
sure.
you know, as an entrepreneur, when you're starting off, man, you can't start off doing everything.
Right.
Because you're gonna burn yourself out.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. And that I seen that happen to a lot of people. They burn themselves out. They're doing too much.
Yeah.
They mad because this ain't hit. Nah, you gotta take your time. You gotta build it, man. It's almost like raising a baby.
Yep. It's definitely gonna take some time. So from culture to code, you're preparing to launch the new Hip Hop Streets app in 2025. So you say this is gonna be version 4?
Version 4.
Yes. What inspired you to step into tech development? So I know you talked briefly about in college, you see this is where the money is going, but what gave you that confidence to say I could do it too?
People telling me I couldn't do it.
Motivation. Huh?
Motivation. First thing, man, how you all right. You same people you see growing up where you tell them about it. And like I said, I used to look at people, oh, they don't think I can do it. All right, because I was going around, amongst my peers saying, hey, man, I want to start this app, man, y'all want to be a part of it. And you look at people, you're like, don't worry about it. I'm not the type to force nothing on nobody.
Right.
I can tell if you're impressive.
Your energy, right?
Yeah, well, all right, cool. So I found the right core group, and we just built it, and it kept opening up more doors and more opportunities, and seeing that we was on the right path. Like I tell people, man, we grew our social media page from 1 follower. We had 1 download. We end up when we closed down this last app to rebuild the new app, we was up to 25,000 downloads. Wow. Like, this is independent. Like, this is no budget, no major bagging, no nothing.
Like,
it's
a vision.
This is a vision. Out. This is, hey, going to work, putting my hard dollars behind it.
Yep.
Arguing with different developers. And I'm actually learned way more about developing now than I ever would have because I had to learn it.
Yeah.
I had to learn the codes. I had to learn what server to use. I had to learn all these things because I'm paying for it out of my pocket. So now I need to know what I'm paying for.
Definitely. When we first started this, it's always been a part of the vision to have our own app. Because in person, when you come to CCN, there's so many things that we do. That's what I wanted the app to represent. So when I first started doing my research and finding app developers, they would change. They were like, "You don't need to do that. You need to just do streaming, or you need to just do community based, or you need to just do distribution." I'm like, "This is my app."
Exactly.
That goes with our vision here at CCN, and I'm paying my money. So just say you can't create what I'm asking
Man.
for, but don't try to ask me to not do it. And I think that kind of I haven't given up on it. I just have paused to figure out some other things because I said maybe I don't have all the information that I need to fully be able to, articulate my vision to a web developer. But I know that it's difficult in building apps because you're really trying to get someone to understand your full vision without you being able to do it yourself. So that's why I really applaud like version 4. I'm like, you rocking and rolling.
Yeah, it went from just music to music videos to podcast shows. On a new version, we adding a feature called Listen to Earn.
So that's why I was just finna ask you, what is the vision for version number 4?
It's Listen to Earn. We're allowing listeners to earn revenue based off the artists that they support on our app. So we're tying the listeners and the artists together.
Wait, back it up. Listeners earn revenue by what?
By supporting the artists that they support on our app. So we're tying the two in together. The listener and the artist is one. If you look at what's going on in anything with music, the listener is always a part of the artist. The artist is a part of the listener. An artist can't come perform a show if you don't have no listeners, right? So we're tying them in because the listener's doing the marketing, doing the promoting, because we're dealing with underground artists. They don't have an audience. So if this listener is going to promote your new song, this listener should have opportunity to earn some type of share revenue that you make on our app.
So what led you to, I'm sure, research data and having the 3 versions before, but like what led to saying this is what we need to add? Because I really think that's genius.
Man, I got a mind that just be
Just
wonders.
keep going and going. Trust me, I
It just
understand.
wonders and wonders. And I'm active, so I'm interacting with people.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing it, what the listeners, how can the listeners gain from it? And you just look at what's going on in social media now, right? You
Right.
can earn revenue on Instagram from posting on Instagram. Why? Because you're keeping people on Instagram. So Instagram say, hey, we'll pay you a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
So, you're helping Instagram, so Instagram gonna help you. So in the music industry, we are the first ones to promote, right? You're gonna hear a new song on the radio, you'll call your homegirl. Girl, did you hear that new Drake? Did you hear that new set? So what they gonna do? They gonna go research it. They gonna look for it. But you ain't earn nothing. But at the same time, you're promoting this artist.
For sure.
Every time you go to the gym, you work out, or you're promoting this artist. So we just want to tie the two in together because for one, we know that the underground artists, it's hard for them to compete. You know what I'm saying? So if the listener really likes them, you know what I'm saying, I feel like they should earn something from them, and that artist and that listener can grow together.
So have you done any like beta testing on this? Do you know for sure it's gonna work, or are you trying it out with the new
So the
version?
beta testing is actually starting within the next 30 days. Mm-hmm. The concept is built, the app is built out. We're finalizing everything to get it up in the app stores on the new version. Goes back to what you were saying with the developers. I ran into a couple of developers. They tell me what can't be done. No, you can't do it. Get out of my way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's right.
And I end up getting it done. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, I'm not asking you how it's gonna work. I'm just asking you to build it.
Yeah.
How it's gonna work is on me.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Just
Right.
build what I'm asking you to build. And that's where we at with it right now.
Amazing. Okay, so empowering independent artists. One of the key missions is to give independent artists a global platform for you. Why is this critical for artists to have ownership and access today?
Because ownership lasts forever.
Yeah.
Right? So and for artists now, you see the artists that own their masters, they selling it for $300-400 million. That's a retirement plan.
Yeah.
But if you don't own it, then you can't do nothing. You're just a buyer. And then once you're through renting it, these people and their family is gonna live off your music for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And your family and don't get nothing back from it. And I think that ownership is everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think in our community, we lack a lot of ownership because we're looking for the quick bucks up front. We're not looking down the line 20, 30 years, hey, give me this right now. And right now it's not even it. It's a longevity game.
Yeah,
The
for
ones
sure.
the ones that you see in the industry that's doing real good, they've been in it for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So building legacy is a big thing. Big thing for me. It's a big thing. A lot of people are using that language. But when it comes to artists, how are they able to build legacy? Is it through the ownership?
Through the ownership, through the music, through being creative, through evolving. Music builds so many hip hop. I'm gonna say hip hop has built so many black self-made millionaires than any other industry that I can really truly think of.
Yeah.
Because when you're thinking about it, let's just say a Yo Gotti. He started off as an artist. He built a label.
Yeah.
He was an artist on his label. Now he's just CEO of the label.
Yeah.
And then they go into fashion. Then they go into real estate. All this has started from hip hop. And I think that's what scares America more than anything. Of course they're gonna highlight, the guns and the drugs. That's only a small percentage. But that's just what is in the news.
Yeah.
But that hip hop is a $1 billion industry.
Man, I start educating myself on that because I'm really big on real estate, and I was finding out how many hip hop artists have like huge real estate portfolios, like owning buildings and just on and on and on, like Jeezy, for
Yeah,
example.
Jeezy.
And it's just like, wow.
And if you look at let's just say Jay-Z, he's a billionaire. His portfolio ain't built up off of music.
Right.
Music just helped him gain the revenue to get into other things.
Yep.
And that's what he did. That's what they're using. You know what I'm saying? Because they're using hip hop to market everything. Cadillac had Sauce Walker them. Right here, Central Houston had Sauce Walker them up there, promoting Central Houston come buy a Cadillac. Like, come on now. You just think about it. You got Central Cadillac Houston, using a hip hop artist
Right.
to get people to come in to buy cars.
Yeah. That
Jewelry, everything. That's what they want. They want the data. They want the data that we have because we influence the world.
Definitely.
And that's what's so powerful about it.
So that leads right into my next question, which is, how will hip hop streets support new talent in ways that traditional platforms don't?
We don't make them compete with the mainstream artists. We give them a straight line. We promote them. Our job is not to A&R to be like if you're good or not. Our job is to put your product out there and let the audience decide.
Yeah.
Gravitate to it. We also plan to do events, podcast shows. We have all that as well. We're just giving you a platform to be creative. Yeah. And even with not even just artists, podcast hosts, journalists, things of that nature, comedians. Jeff Shelley started with us. Bubba Dub, we had Bubba Dub. He came through in the beginning of his era. He told us we was the first one to hire him to do promotion for us. Things of that nature. It just opened up all these doors. Videographers, editors. We pull interns from Texas Southern. So it's more than just artists that we're helping. We're helping all creatives that want to be creative and need a place to start. But for the artists, they don't compete, and we're giving them a global audience because we also then tapped in with Ghana, Africa.
Yeah.
Man, the guy hitting me every day. Man, when you because we're actually looking to set up a Hip Hop Streets podcast studio in Ghana, Africa. We did the contracts. We done looked at the buildings, and the guy just telling me, "Hey, man, we're poor over here."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Man, we'll create it. You just edit it and send the footage over, but we'll give y'all that platform to get y'all heard." And I don't know if y'all know about the median age in Ghana. It's like 25. Yeah. So they bouncing off the wall in hip hop over there.
Yeah.
So just giving them a platform, just a place to start.
And that goes into my next question. It's like you read this already about global community. I know for us, for CCN, that is one of my goals, is to go to Africa. I want to go wherever I can serve. So I know exactly what we do, as far as a media network, and wherever that's needed, that's why I want to go. But I specifically want to go to Africa. And when I go on platforms myself and people interview me and they say, "Hey, where you gonna be in 5 years?" I skip all that we're doing here, which is some amazing things.
Right.
And I go straight Africa. And my team has to tell me, like, "Hey, you're not gonna tell them about the theater we opening. You're not gonna tell them about like the stuff that's happening in Houston first." But that's my biggest goal. Like
Right.
I want to go global. So I just think that's amazing. And going out there, talking to the people, seeing where the need is and making that preparation because they don't have that resources and access that we have. I mean, some parts do,
Some parts
but
do,
some
yeah.
parts don't.
real
And
dope.
being able to go, like you say, and put a hip hop streets studio down there, like that's amazing.
That's my goal to finish by the end of this year.
Yeah.
To have that up and running. It's been working. I've been working on it for the last 2 years, building that trust factor. But that's the goal. I think we're finalizing it. And I got a strong faith. So I believe in God. So
I know that's right.
when it happened, what I'm saying, it's gonna happen
right on time.
Exactly.
Exactly. So you're not just creating an app; you're building a global movement. Clearly, what role do you see hip hop playing in uniting communities around the world?
Man, hip hop unites everybody right now.
Been doing that,
It's
huh?
been doing that. You see it now with the R&B in the parks, all these events they got going on, man. It's hip hop, man. Hip hop has always united people because hip hop had always been expressions.
Yeah.
If you go back to the Tupac, the NWAs, they were just expressing what was going on in the black communities and hoping
that
to
they
shed
saw,
things that they saw to shed the light. So the unified is there, it's been there. They try to divide it, with all this beef and nonsense that goes on. But once that actually, ceases, the sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit. That's so true. How do you balance presenting the authenticity of hip hop's culture while innovating through technology?
That is just me just being me.
Yeah.
Because hip hop is already original. So you know what I'm saying. If you look at all the different levels of hip hop, and what it started and where it's at. If you remember, the South wasn't in there. But now the South came in, and then Atlanta, then mumble rap. It's gonna always evolve.
Yeah.
It's gonna always be somebody to do something different, something new.
Yeah.
So I think that is gonna always help. But on the tech side, tech helps spread your message and your music faster than
anything
anything
else.
ever.
That is so true.
And it actually didn't put a damper on a lot of the radio because working with some of the artists, like I said, I've been working with Lil Kiki and, talking to him about, what I'm saying, the evolution of what's going on. He was like, man, I remember we had to go run up to the radio station to get our music. He said, nah, man, I got over 1 million subscribers on Spotify.
Yeah.
So once I put my music out,
It's
out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not more so me having the big radio to play my music now.
Yeah.
He said, I'm basing my own radio station.
Yeah. So I always wondered, like, because I feel like that transition happened fast. I know it didn't happen overnight, but it was like we was playing CDs and then we were streaming.
COVID.
Yes, COVID. And so do you feel like that we need to educate artists more on like the switch where they can fully understand the power of streaming, or you feel like artists kind of fully understand it already?
They don't understand it because, a lot of them, still can't come up on the blueprint of, what I'm saying, radio station, spinning. But the streaming is there because streaming helps your popularity. Popularity brings you money if you structured right.
Right.
And I think a lot of artists, once they understand that aspect of it, what I'm saying, it's a go. But at the same time, you still need radio. You still need to go through these same avenues that these other artists went through. So don't
still
think
need that development.
Exactly. Don't think that you're gonna drop a song on Spotify and everybody on Spotify gonna listen to your music. That's not how it works.
Right.
You got to have subscribers on Spotify. And that's why we created Hip Hop Streets. Because a lot of artists was uploading their music to Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, and they were just sitting there and they have no streams. And they, why ain't nobody listening to my music? Hey, they're not going to your app, to Spotify looking for new music. They're going to Spotify looking for their favorite artists.
Yeah.
Hip Hop Streets is a platform that has an audience that's looking for new music.
Right.
So you got to know that. You got to start somewhere.
Right.
And I think a lot of them was just jump starting. They was missing a step. You can't go from recording in your living room to I'm on Spotify and I'm a superstar today. No. That is not how this cycle works.
Right.
And speaking with a lot of these record labels, there's no more A&Rs either.
Yep.
So you got to be ready. You got to have everything ready to go, and then they'll jump on it. They're not investing that money into artists no more like they used to with the artist development, taking you around, taking you to showcases, things of that nature. And that's some of the things that we do. We try to help create showcases, things of that nature. You got to learn stage performance. You're not gonna learn that from they're not gonna take the risk on you no more because they got the such and such. He's streaming. They making them, a billion streams. They're cool. So a lot of A&Rs went away too. So that's what really opened the door for what we're building at Hip Hop Streets too.
Man, that's beautiful. All right. Legacy, vision, and future impact. Future vision. Where do you see Hip Hop Streets and your overall mission 5 years from now?
I see Hip Hop Streets as the #1 platform for new artists.
Yep.
I also see Hip Hop Streets doing a joint venture partnership with a bigger brand to grow it bigger.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got to understand that, man. Businesses, you create businesses. A lot of people create businesses to sell. I can't get caught up in, I don't never want to partner with nobody. I want this all to be mine. That's not business.
Right. No,
That's not business at all. If you look at Amazon, he don't own all of Amazon. He sold off so much part of it, but when you're thinking numbers, it's still making $1 billion. And that's what business is. Business is partnering up with a lot of people, man, to get that vision out of there.
Yeah, definitely. The right partnerships, being
Exactly.
aligning with the right people can take you further than you could ever go by yourself. And I say this every time I'm on stage, on the podcast. I repeat it, but it's the truth. You can only go so far by yourself. Even if you become a 7-figure brand, you're still gonna get stuck at some point because you're only one person.
Only one
so if you
person.
could get that far by yourself, imagine if you partner with other people. Now we talking billions and on and on. And I think that's something that as a Black culture we have to realize. That don't give up on partnerships. Just find the right alignment. What is your brand? Who are you here to serve? What is it that you're doing? And who has a brand or something that can complement that has the same goals and mission, And I think that the more that we do that and solidify those partnerships, the further we're going to get.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And people got to understand that money has no color.
No.
It has no color. So get that out your mind and just grind, focus. If the right people come, you know what I'm saying, just be ready for them and partner up with them. So that's the main objective on the vision side. I see it as a global brand, getting it to that next level.
What advice would you give to young creatives or entrepreneurs who want to build something bigger than themselves?
Try. Just
Do
go
it.
try it. Just go do it. Quit. A lot of people, they just, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it. I ain't got this. Man, I started Hip Hop Streets. I didn't even know how to create an app. I just said I'm going to create one.
Right.
And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to find somebody. Yeah. I didn't know how much it costs. They told me how much it costs. Okay, cool. Let me figure that out. But at the same time, if you never try, I never get better. I'm not sitting down talking with you.
Yeah.
These things don't happen if I don't get up
Exactly.
and try. So
exactly.
I think that the thing is just try, because you never know how great you are until you try. You never know how strong you are until you lift it.
For sure. And one thing I know for sure that like success is inevitable as long as you don't give up. Like as long as you don't stop, you'll get there, because every single day, every situation is a learning experience. You just keep going, keep going. But if your mission is to get there and you don't stop, you're gonna get there.
Yeah, eventually. Like they say, the turtle always win the race.
Yep, I know that's right. Okay, so personal legacy. When it's all said and done, what legacy do you hope to leave behind through your work in sports, poetry, fashion, and tech?
I just hope to leave a mark that's worth remembering.
Yeah.
That's my whole goal. I want people to, wake up one day and be like, man, I remember Marquis.
Yeah.
Man, I remember he did this. Man, I remember he helped me do this.
Right.
And just want to leave that type of legacy behind. Same legacy that my grandmother left behind.
Yeah.
My grandfather left behind. They left a legacy that people, always remembered. And I was told that love is something that will be with you for life. So I just try to show a lot of love.
For sure.
And that's something you'll never forget. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I just hope my legacy reads that he did not give up.
And he kept going.
He kept going.
I love that. So before we close out this interview, I have a couple quick questions. Mind over movement, right? So, one tech tool you can't live without right now.
My cell phone.
I know that's right. Favorite poet or lyricist who influences your style?
Jay-Z.
A Houston hidden gem you love for creativity or inspiration?
A Houston hidden gem that I love for creativity. A Houston hidden gem. That's
Or even if it's not just for creativity, what's a Houston hidden gem Houston hidden gem that might like inspire you?
I would say that's I'm a neighborhood kid. So,
So you're like, it's not hidden. Nah, I know where everything at.
I'm from Herm Clark, but a Houston hidden gem. I'll say coffee shops.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Coffee shops. If you could text your younger self one piece of advice today, what would the text say?
Man, get away from them niggas.
I think I might text myself that too.
Get away from them niggas, man.
Check your surroundings, young sis. Okay, I appreciate that. Your journey proves that culture, creativity, and technology together have the power to transform lives. Thank you for sharing your story and vision with us today. How can people support your nonprofit, the launch, all the things? How can people connect with you?
Just go to Hip Hop Streets, Instagram, social media is Hip Hop Streets. The website is hiphopstreets.com. They can go to my social media page, Marquis _entrepreneur. If you go to my page, I'm pretty much gonna lead you everywhere you need to go. Cause I'm always promoting. I'm always doing what I got to do, being in places I need to be at. But just follow me and let's connect.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to give you the opportunity, because I see you promote it all the time on social media. Your alumni, where you say you graduated from?
Texas Southern.
Don't play with them, huh?
Don't Texas Southern, baby. Let's go, man. Proud alumni, man. School of Business. I was the last class that Priscilla Slade graduated. So I was the last class to shake her hand.
I know that.
And everybody know that she changed that whole university.
Shout out to her. The future belongs to the builders, the dreamers, and the fearless innovators. Until next time, keep leading, keep dreaming, and keep building your legacy. It's been Jasmine J, another episode of Business Talks with Jasmine J. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. And if you want to hear the truth and transparency with founders and CEOs, check out our episodes. Peace.